Welcome to another episode of Next Level Coaching. I'm your host, Erin Cotman. I'm super excited to have you here with me today. Before we get started, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this. You can also stream it on all podcast platforms as well. And also do me a favor, share this with another coach or instructional leader. Today, we're going to talk about leading through uncertainty. I think it does not take a rocket scientist to know that we are leading in uncertain times. I am thinking even just this week around some of the news that came from our new president and funding. And I think about the panic that was set in this week. And so I don't know necessarily when this episode will run, but I think we are probably in a season of life where there may be lots of opportunities for that same feeling to come back. And so I wanted to do an episode around just as a leader, how do you lead in uncertainty? When I think about the years of being school-based, there was lots of times where there was uncertainty in my building, whether that was maybe something tragic happening with a student, a teacher, uncertainty around budget, positions, location of our school, even I remember a year, right? And so when you're leading, that is a reality. And so one of the first lessons I learned as a school leader was how much people watch you. I remember one day I was on my way to the bathroom and I was just like, shuffling to the bathroom. I had a few minutes. And I remember someone stopping me later and going, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's wrong?" "Oh, I saw you earlier. You looked really upset." I was like, "Oh, I thought I had a good day today." I realized later they just saw me going to the bathroom, but my facial expression was kind of like, pensive, And so, but what it did was set off almost like an alarm in that person of like, I wonder what's wrong. Is something wrong, right? And so as school leaders, people are watching your reaction, your body language, what you say and what you do. And they use that as a gauge of, yes, everything is calm and cool, or, something might be off, right? Or this is a time of happiness. You are the thermometer of your school. You are the thermometer of your school. And so people are constantly watching you. And so when we get to times of crisis or uncertainty, it's really important, first of all, that as a school leader, you are transparent. I think that transparent while being also calm, but also the transparency has to be a partner there, because what you don't want to do is give false calm either. You want to have to be able to communicate either like the seriousness or the like severity of a situation while still being calm, but also being transparent. Transparency sometimes looks like uncertainty, saying, "I don't know, I don't have the answers, but here's what I do know." Here's what I do know should be connected to a story of resilience. So when has there been a time previously where your school has faced something similar? When has been a time previously where your school has risen above some sort of problem? When has there been a bounce back at your school? When you're able to help people recall seasons where something was uncertain but it worked out, it helps provide a level of calm for your school, your school community that is necessary. When you're in the middle of the storm, it's sometimes hard to see outside of that. And so as a school leader, if you can orient and help lay the foundation for people of we've been here before and we've been okay, it can help ease some of that. Another piece is you want to keep the motivation and engagement high. So even in the lack of direction or maybe the uncertainty that is there, I'm remaining focused on the fact that students have to learn, right? So I'm not ignoring it, but I'm also understanding we still have kids to teach. We still have to keep the motivation high, and we still have to keep our students and families engaged. And so I'm not going to turn all of my focus to the uncertainty. I'm going to be like the thing that steadies the ship to say, we're still teaching, we're still learning, we're still grooving, we still have strong culture, we still have the joy in our school, we're still doing the things that are going to help. We're still being mission driven in our work, despite all of this. I know sounds like a delicate balance, and it is, right? But that's that leadership hat that matters, right? So the leader who's leading in uncertainty can't also just say, "Okay, we're going to have this data meeting today. I know everything's in flames, but we're going to have this data meeting," right? They have to have a pulse, right, on what's happening in their building. So there may be times where we're like, hey, I hear you. But actually, the best thing we can do is have this data meeting because we got kids who still need to learn. But I've also provided you the space to talk about your feelings, to talk about your uncertainty. So there's like this yes and piece in the States of Being book by Linda Bellins. They call it living in the and that is what uncertainty is, right? I can be urgent yet patient in the middle of uncertainty. I can have high expectations while having grace in the middle of uncertainty. I can have rigorous instruction and grade level instruction in the middle of uncertainty. And so when you're in uncertainty, the leader needs to really lean into the because the and is where you're going to find those adaptive soft skills that are going to be necessary when your school or network or region or district is in a space of uncertainty. The last piece is morale and momentum. Knowing your school community, what do they need in order to help boost morale? And I'm not talking about a gene pass or a pizza day, right? But what do they truly need that will help boost their morale? What is there to celebrate? What can you communicate that's going to keep momentum going? I think about in my teaching career and leadership career, we actually had our school burned down. And at that time, I was just a teacher. But when I think about the moves that my leaders made during that time, when I reflect now, it's kind of incredible because I think our school burned down on like a Wednesday. We had school on Monday. We literally moved everything and almost like created a school over a weekend. Do you understand what that did for morale? It was like, you can burn our school down and we're still teaching kids on Monday. Like, kids are still learning. It was the craziest morale booster, right? Our logo for the remainder of the year was a phoenix, right? Like this bird that rides from the ashes. That was a morale booster. It was momentum. It was like, we think about this crazy story and the fact that kids are still learning. I was thinking we were going to be out of school for 2-3 weeks. Nope. We had school like 3 days later, right? That was crazy, but it was such morale. Like, I don't think I've ever been in a tighter community of during a school year. Was the year that our school burned down. So my leader at the time had the opportunity to fold. He could have been like, this is the most tragic thing ever. We're good here. Wrap it up. He didn't. He used it to remind us of a time where we had to be resilient. He kept us engaged. He kept the momentum going. He kept morale going. And he was really transparent about what we were facing and what kids may be facing as a result of this tragedy. Uncertainty will happen. It will happen a lot. You as a leader have a choice in how you show up, how you keep your community connected, and how you make sure that at the end of the day, you're mission driven and kids still grow and learn. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure that you share it, like it, comment, subscribe, and all the great things. I will catch you next week for another episode of Next Level Coaching.